Welcome to Books and Coffee Chat, the podcast where we dive into the stories you love, the characters you can't stop thinking about, and the plot twists that leave you speechless. Every week, grab your coffee and join us for real, fun, and spoiler-free conversations about books that everyone's talking about. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we really plunge into the heart of stories and research that you share with us, pulling out the most potent insights and, well, surprising facts sometimes. Today we're diving deep into a really raw emotional world. It's from the novel Para Siempre Interrompido. It takes us on this intense journey through love, sudden loss, and the really arduous process of rebuilding a life when the unexpected just shatters everything.
Exactly. And our mission today, in this deep dive, is to truly unpack the protagonist's experience, Elsie's experience. It's an unforeseen tragedy.
Yeah.
We'll explore how she grapples with this profound grief, not just inside, but also dealing with external conflict and these surprising emotional discoveries.
Right.
It's a powerful story about piecing together a fractured life, really, and how connections, both old and new, can sort of form and evolve when you're facing the unimaginable. You're definitely in for a truly heartfelt exploration.
So let's start right on the edge of that change. We meet Elsie in that, well, exquisite kind of delicate bubble of being a newlywed, pure bliss. She's just married Ben. She's imagining her new identity, Elsie Porter Ross, a name her husband, affectionately called Very Sexy.
Yeah.
It's this moment just steeped in the promise of a future together, ordinary life unfolding beautifully, but then that idyllic scene is just brutally instantly shattered.
It's the suddenness, isn't it, that really grips you. The novel, it masterfully uses this really mundane thing, wanting fruity pebbles.
Right. Cereal.
Yeah, to trigger this chain of events that ends in a catastrophic accident. And we're right there with Elsie in her immediate, disbelieving reaction. She sees the ambulance lights fading away.
Oh, wow.
Her mind's desperately trying to impose some kind of logic, but it's warped logic, She clings to this irrational thought. The guilty one dies, the innocent one lives. It's such a primal human thing, trying to rationalize something utterly senseless.
You feel that visceral lurch, don't you, as her world just spins. Her frantic search for Ben at the accident scene, that chilling moment a police officer holds her back.
Yeah.
Then the news, just crushing, delivered so clinically. He passed with the impact of the accident. I am very sorry. And the novel really portrays her initial thought that tragedies only happen to, arrogant and presumptuous people. Never someone like her, someone who understood how fragile life is. What does that tell us about our assumptions? About control and justice when chaos hits?
Well, that's a crucial insight, I think. It really highlights our deep-seated need for meaning, for fairness, even when we're faced with just random, devastating events. Elsie's initial reaction, it's a profound psychological defense mechanism, right?
Sure.
And at the hospital, the narrative describes her as just completely paralyzed, can't interact, ignores a social worker.
It's just shut down.
Totally frozen, as if a part of her died too. And the normalcy of the hospital staff around her, the everyday chatter, the routine stuff, it becomes unbearable torment.
I can imagine. She actually describes hating everyone in this hospital because no one is feeling devastated. It's such a powerful picture of the isolation that comes with acute grief, this massive chasm opening up between her shattered inner world and the indifferent ongoing world outside.
And as if that wasn't enough to deal with, her shock is immediately compounded by conflict from the outside. Ben's mother, Susan, arrives.
Oh, boy.
And she demands identification, openly questioning Elsie's status as Ben's wife.
Yeah.
Especially because the marriage certificate hasn't arrived yet. It's like Elsie's new identity, Elsie Ross, is being ripped away just as she's trying to grasp it.
This is where the novel shows us this fascinating, almost predatory power dynamic. Susan doesn't just question her status. She asserts her authority as the mother, declares Elsie a mere footnote in Ben's history.
A footnote. Wow.
Yeah. And this isn't just about legal papers. It's a profound emotional rejection of Elsie's identity at her most vulnerable moment. It's like a second loss, almost as devastating as the first.
The fight even spreads too, like cremation versus burial. It becomes this battleground over who really knew Ben, who had the right to decide. Elsie, just overwhelmed, leaves Ben's body and is immediately hit by this crushing wave of regret. An early sign of that awful second-guessing that comes with sudden loss.
The novel then just plunges us into Elsie's solitude. Even in their apartment, the space that was ours, she feels this betrayal. She talks to the walls, just repeating the truth. He died. He's not coming back. Her friend Anna is there, this constant, unwavering presence. She even finds Ben's Vicodin for Elsie when she's desperate for an escape.
Right, Anna's trying.
But Elsie struggles. She can't accept the comfort, feels watched, wants to be left alone, but at the same time knows she might not survive without Anna right there. It's such a painful picture of how grief can make even genuine connection feel, I don't know, suffocating, even from the people you love most.
And to really grasp the depth of Elsie's pain, we absolutely need to step back and see the romance that came before, this vibrant whirlwind romance.
Yeah, the contrast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The novel uses flashbacks beautifully. It takes us to Elsie's first meeting with Ben at a pizza place. Just a spontaneous encounter that ignites something really profound. It's not a slow burn at all. Their connection is immediate. It's palpable. It pulls you right into the intensity of their bond.
And the novel is brilliant at showing how this connection forms so fast. Their chemistry, it's instant, marked by these quirky, endearing details, you know? His green-gray eyes, her self-conscious laugh, his playful demand for a compliment back.
Yeah.
He even offers to manage her keys after she locks herself out again. A small gesture, but it speaks volumes about his protective, dependable nature. And Elsie, who's normally so self-sufficient, finds herself surprisingly drawn to that, being cared for.
Their relationship just accelerates with this captivating intensity. Their first date, not a quiet dinner, it's an unexpected adventure to some distant taco place.
Love that.
And Ben's aversion to NPR, he compares it to a doctor's appointment, which is hilarious. And his old-fashioned desire to just talk, not be entertained, it highlights his unique charm. He's direct, open, candid, even shares the deep pain of his father's death from cancer and his mother's ongoing grief.
Wow, early on.
Right. And the novel shows us how Elsie, who's clumsy, prone to mishaps like spilling taco grease on his car bumper, is just met with Ben's complete acceptance. He just smiles, tells her, I don't care about any of that. That quick, deep acceptance, that becomes the foundation.
And soon, they're living together, filled with those mundane but really intimate details that define a partnership. Ben's favorite birdie pillow isn't just a pillow. It quickly becomes our pillow, a symbol of their merging lives. He even playfully bribes an ice cream shop worker for her, and she notes, nobody's ever bribed someone for me before. These small moments, they seem insignificant, but they pile up to paint this vivid picture of a love that's both fierce and comforting.
And the proposal itself is uniquely Ben, right? Spontaneous. Comes after back spasms and a dose of Vicodin.
Right, the Vicodin proposal.
Yeah. He lays out their entire future with this charming conviction. Marriage in 1.5 years, kids at 30 and 33, 34, retiring at 60, dying at 90.
He's got it all planned.
Totally. He declares he's found the right person, and Elsie, despite the weird circumstances, feels loved in a way I had never felt before. It raises this compelling question, doesn't it, about certainty in love. Can a profound commitment be forged in moments of vulnerability, even, drug-induced sincerity, and be just as real as one carefully planned out?
It's a powerful statement about their bond, I think. Despite the Vicodin, Ben's earnestness about their future, his immediate desire to move in, even Elsie's secret pregnancy scare, which turns out not to be real, but prompts Ben to promise they'll face anything together.
Yeah.
It all just underscores this deep, quickly built, fiercely committed love, and their Las Vegas wedding, chosen for its spontaneity, that spirit of mad love, it becomes another poignant symbol of their connection. But tragically, it leads to that critical logistical error that complicates everything later.
And here's where the narrative throws another devastating curveball, revealing these hidden truths that just complicate Elsie's grief even more. After Ben's death, she discovers their impulsive Vegas wedding. It wasn't legally registered.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because of critical error with his social security number. Her marriage, the very core of her new identity as a wife, it never officially existed in the eyes of the law.
Wow. What's really insightful here is how the novel shows Elsie's internal struggle with this. At first, she's so ashamed she can't even tell Susan.
Right.
Later, she gets a call from the county records office confirming the error, but they offer a chance to retroactively register it. And making that decision becomes less about what other people think and more about Elsie's own internal need for closure, for public affirmation of their love, which was so real to her, regardless of paperwork.
It's a symbolic act, isn't it? Reclaiming a truth.
Definitely.
And Elsie's grief, it just manifests in these astonishingly raw, unpredictable ways. The novel explores this with such unflinching honesty. We see her inability to throw away Ben's old sausages. The sausages, yeah.
A small detail, but it underscores how desperately she's clinging to anything connected to him. Her whole world becomes a minefield of triggers where everything makes me remember him.
Everything.
And the most striking example, I think, is the incident where she actually punches a man at the library.
Whoa.
Yeah, for an insensitive comment about her husband. It's this visceral outburst that just illustrates the uncontained primal nature of her pain. She even admits, "I killed a little of myself when he left." This period just highlights the unpredictable, often messy, and frankly, socially uncomfortable reality of profound loss.
Which raises a vital question, really, for anyone going through grief or trying to support someone who is. How do we tell the difference between genuine, helpful support and, well-meaning advice or actions that actually end up being harmful?
That's such a key question. Anna's attempts to help, like bailing Elsie out of jail after the library incident, they vividly portray the strain on their friendship. Elsie feels this distance growing, especially as Anna is navigating her own new relationship with Kevin, who Elsie just finds bland.
Yeah.
Elsie even wonders if maybe she lost a little of Anna when she found Ben, hinting at those profound shifts in identity and relationships that grief can trigger.
But despite Elsie's initial distancing, pushing people away, her relationships really become central to her healing process. It's arduous, but they're key. Anna, despite the friction, remains this unwavering, loyal presence, gently prompting Elsie to return calls, acknowledge her family. There's a poignant moment when Anna brings Elsie this morbid yet strangely comforting gift, a veiled hat for Ben's funeral.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's grim, but it helps Elsie feel like a widow. And for the first time, she truly begins to acknowledge the public, the external reality of her grief.
And then there's that truly unexpected bond that forms with Mr. Callahan from the library.
Yes, Mr. Callahan.
This relationship becomes such a profound source of wisdom and maybe hope for Elsie. He shares his own deeply personal story of losing his first love, Esther, and then years later finding Lorraine, who became the love of his life.
It's powerful.
It gives Elsie this tangible, living example that life does, in fact, continue. That new love is possible even if she's nowhere near ready to believe it for herself yet. He also subtly challenges her perspective, gently reminding her she's young, she's resilient. It's a great testament to the healing power of shared experience, of unexpected mentorship.
And perhaps the most striking transformation really is in Elsie's relationship with Susan, Ben's mother.
Right, the adversary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She starts as an adversary and slowly, unexpectedly, becomes a source of solace. Susan gives Elsie Ben's wallet and his wedding ring. These are profoundly symbolic gestures of acceptance, of recognizing Elsie's place in Ben's life.
That's huge.
It is. They even start packing Ben's belongings together, a shared, almost sacred ritual of grief. And though Elsie initially struggles to let go, she regrets giving his clothes to charity immediately. This shared act signifies this gradual shift from antagonism to a fragile, shared understanding.
That connects so beautifully to the broader understanding of grief as this complex journey, right? Not just a fixed point you get over. Right?
Exactly, not a destination.
Susan, who is also grappling with her own potential loss, her new love, Lorraine, facing challenges due to age, she inadvertently becomes a guide for Elsie. She shares her own pain, admitting she hasn't even begun to scratch the surface of losing Ben, and she offers that really poignant, critical advice. If you sink too long in your suffering, you will wake up one day and find that you have built your life around a ghost.
Wow, that hits hard.
It resonates so deeply with Elsie, who has, quite literally, been living in Ben's sanctuary, unable to move forward. It's about recognizing when holding on becomes its own kind of prison.
And the ultimate act of accepting Ben's death and then choosing to register their marriage posthumously. That's a major turning point. It's an act of profound courage and self-definition for Elsie. The woman from the county records office, interestingly, doesn't just process paperwork. She empowers Elsie by framing it as her choice.
Making it personal.
Exactly, making it a truly personal decision to validate their love, legally and emotionally.
What's particularly moving here, I think, is how Elsie processes Susan's earlier, really harsh words. You are just a footnote in Ben's history. Because Susan ultimately validates Elsie's love, not just with actions like giving her the ring, but with words. She says Ben loved you enough to marry you this way. She even admits she would have liked Elsie if she'd known her earlier. It reveals her own regret, her own growth. It's this powerful moment of reconciliation, showing how shared grief can break down those barriers and reveal unexpected empathy.
And that final conversation between Elsie and Susan, when they speak to Ben in the wind, it's incredibly moving. Susan praises Ben for loving Elsie, saying, "Through her, I understood that you became exactly the kind of man I wanted you to be."
Oh, wow.
Then, in this profound act of love and release, really, for both of them, she tells Ben, "You could forget about us, we'll be fine."
Letting him go.
Yeah, it raises such a powerful question. Can true love sometimes mean letting go? Not just of the person, but of the way you mourn them,
Oh.
allowing both yourself and the memory to find peace.
Mm.
Elsie, looking out at that sea of gravestones, recognizes she's not alone in her grief. She understands, if others survived, she can too. And Susan's supernova analogy for Ben and Elsie's love, brief but intensely brilliant, it's a beautiful summary, suggesting that some loves, even short ones, are extraordinarily powerful. They can define lives in an instant, forever changing their path.
Elsie's journey in Para Sempre Interrompido. It's just such a potent reminder that grief is nowhere near linear. And that identity itself is remarkably fluid. She moves from being Elsie Ross, the newlywed, then the distraught widow, to becoming Elsie Porter again. A woman profoundly shaped by love and devastating loss, yes, but ultimately capable of new connections, of continued life.
Right.
She doesn't just move on. She learns to carry her grief, integrate it, without letting it consume her entirely.
It's such a testament, isn't it, to the fact that even when faced with the most unexpected, shattering events, resilience can emerge from vulnerability. Unexpected bonds can form in shared sorrow, and self-discovery can kind of blossom from the ashes of loss.
Yeah.
And sometimes the very things we initially resist, like forming new relationships or letting go of certain physical reminders, are precisely what help us find our way forward. Elsie's story is really about accepting the unexpected, finding courage within profound pain, and understanding that love, even when it's tragically interrupted, can forever change us for the better, make us stronger, more compassionate.
So this deep dive leaves you with a pretty poignant thought, I think. How do we honor the loves that shaped us, especially if they were tragically brief? How do we allow their profound impact to transform us, while still giving ourselves permission to build a new life beyond the shadow of that loss?
Yeah, consider this. Can a love that lasts only days or maybe a few short years truly define a lifetime? Can it imprint itself so deeply that it forever alters your path? And what does it really mean to step into an unknown future, not forgetting the past, but embracing the possibility of joy and connection again, carrying both the memory and the lessons forward?
And that's a wrap for today's Books and Coffee Chat. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share this episode with your fellow book lovers. Got a book suggestion or a hot take? Drop it in the comments. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. See you next time, and don't forget, keep reading and keep